So today on Project Shop, we are going to set up the hydraulic pump and pull the copper out of these stators and electric motors. Now I have to say, having the pump here is awesome. I have to thank Bill for donating the pump to the channel. And man, I have to say, man, I have the best subscribers and viewers. Not just the people that, you know, send me tools. I mean, those guys are awesome. Bill, John Daly, Adam W from Texas. The guy, I'm really sorry, your name is escaping now, but you sent me the plier. I have them right over there, the fencing pliers. And anybody else that's ever sent me anything, I really appreciate it. But I just, more than that, I appreciate you guys just watching, you know, what I do here, and subscribing and leaving comments and suggestions. I really do appreciate it. It does, you know, it does go a long way. But this is awesome. I absolutely love having this right here, you know, being able to just stand here and not reach over way. I used to have to reach so far just to turn it on and off. And now I might, well, I don't know if I'm going to mount my vise there permanently. I want to put my vise on the table to where I work it, but I can't do it like right here because it's just in the way. I might cut a section out or cut another length of this off. I like having, I left this on when I welded this on because I was building cages. I left it on there because I actually like the lip. It stops things from rolling off and keeps, you know, stuff on the table. But it's a catch-22, you know. You can't put something here and have it flat and leaning off the table. My vise, which I just use clamps to clamp to the table because I like to keep it mobile. I've been only putting it here, which realistically it should kind of be over here. I don't know. We'll have to see. But what we're going to do in today's video is we're going to test out the speed of this hydraulic pump. Wow, it's getting windy. That's one thing I can say about out here is I haven't had a hot, stagnant day yet. It's been absolutely beautiful. We have a farm next to us where it's, I guess it's all open field, and the wind just comes across there. We love it. But anyway, what I want to do is I've been running this pump in a loop to heat the hydraulics up because I want to give this thing the best chance possible. It does work faster once it's heated up. So I've been having it, and I'll run it again here for a couple minutes before I swap the lines. What I'm going to do is put the lines on, and I'm just going to do a simple test. I'm going to run this out, see how long it goes out, see how long it goes back in. I'll do it 3 or 4 times to get an average in case it heats up or it decides to go faster, whatever it wants to do. We'll get an average speed of it coming all the way in, all the way out of its stroke. And then I'm going to have to pull the hydraulic lines off because I don't have enough to put on there. Those other hydraulic lines that I wanted to pull off, I don't have enough fittings right now, or I don't know where they are to get them to work. And they're not 10,000 psi. These are actually 10,000 psi hoses. So they'll just unscrew. They'll screw right on here. I am going to flush them because I think the oil in here is contaminated, and I am going to flush this ram. I'll run it all the way back, which will pretty much empty it. I'll leave this side open. I'll push the ram all the way this way with that cracked, bleed it all out. It's not going to get 100%, but at least it's not going to like completely contaminate my thing with whatever fluid is in there. Now there's a lot less fluid on this side because of the rod that's in there. So, you know, it is what it is. Now, before we get into that, I'll show you what I got in the bags here. So, you know, we had issue with my trailer. I went to take the tire off to go use a spare, just basically to have a spare on that other trailer. Well, when I did that, the studs, 4 of the 8 stripped out. Like, I couldn't even get the nut to go back on. It just locked up. So I went to go get new studs, and where are my new studs? 1 second. Okay, I forgot I got 2 bags. I found this new trailer place, and man, they have some nice trailers over there. I was fully expecting to pay $100 or so. I wanted to get a couple extra, and I forgot. I wound up getting 8, but that's not what I'm thinking. I was thinking for the studs and the nuts that I was going to be paying somewhere around like 50 or 60 bucks, because, or even more, because down in West Palm, I used to use this place called Expediter, and they are just outrageous with their prices, man. I mean, they have everything in stock. You can literally walk in there and walk out with what you need. I've never had anything had to be ordered, but their prices are for sure kind of expensive. Okay, so the studs were $3.99, $4 each. That's not bad. And the lug nut was $1.29. You know, I got out of there for about 45 bucks. I was literally expecting to spend like 60 bucks or more, okay? But since I saved a little money, I kind of walked around the store a little bit, and I got me 2 brand new lights for my trailer. Now, my passenger side light still works, okay? The driver's side light is just completely missing. And what I've been doing is using my set of wireless lights, and then sometimes I forget them, right? So I don't always have them, and I got 1 tail light. So that's kind of problematic. Since I was at a trailer place and I want to try to keep my trailers up to snuff, we bought a set of lights. Okay, so we're into that, about $100. And then I had to go to Home Depot for my wife to get a plank, or a 1x12 thing for a shelf. She's ripping apart our kitchen, and then she wanted some glue. So I went to Home Depot, got some glue for a mug she broke, and it literally has a picture of a mug, so I got the right stuff. Then I got some more WD, because I've been WDing everything around here just to keep the moisture off the stuff that's outside. And then, you know, scrapping, one of my favorite tools to scrap with is a flathead screwdriver, and I can't find my main big heavy duty flathead screwdriver that I know I don't use for a screwdriver. I literally just use it to pry and do everything you should not do with a flathead screwdriver. So I was like, you know what? I'm out running errands. I'm going to treat myself. I was going to buy me a dedicated scrap flathead screwdriver. And then I seen like a Milwaukee with a big head that you can pound on for $18, right? Then I look a couple spaces over, and literally the same size in a Husky, 18 bucks. You get 2 flats, I think they're the same exact flats, and a Phillips, all metal striking end cap, so you can strike with it. Full length metal shank for solid striking, or solid strength when striking. Yeah, so now, and these match the set of, I have like a nice, they're not nice, I mean they're a set of Husky, which I use for actual mechanic stuff. And when I'm doing like stuff that needs a flathead or a Phillips, I have a whole nother set of tools. Like I have my scrapping tools, which I keep separate from like my mechanic tools. You know, my mechanic tools are a little bit, what I would say is like my nicer tools. Like I don't want to break or strip. Like when I'm working on vehicles, you know, I want the right tool for the job, and I want a good quality tool for the job that's not going to like strip a bolt on my car. Scrapping, I couldn't care less. I mean, if I strip a bolt, I'm breaking out the grinder or the torch or the plasma cutter. Either way, whatever I'm doing is going to get done, you know. But the vehicles, not so much. So now I have a nice dedicated scrap set. Now most of the time, scrapping, I wouldn't use handfuls, as you would say. What's the difference here? One is slightly, so that's slightly thinner. So I'll probably be using this one most of the time. You know, my striking cap. The Phillips, yeah, every once in a while I need a Phillips out here. So I'll leave these two out here for like my scrap. If I'm taking apart scrap and I don't have to go in there and pull my, what I would consider my nice set. And now I have just a brute force. I like how it says wear safety glasses right on it. Because you know we're all about safety over here at Project Shop. Alright, enough about my Home Depot expenditures. I'm going to go ahead and get that pump set up, and we'll time this. I actually have to jack this up. I always run a 2x4 onto this thing. And yeah, so I'll get that going. I'm going to let that run for about 5 more minutes, let it really heat up and give it the best chance possible. And then we will see the difference whether or not I want to run, because if there's a significant difference, you know, I don't mind smacking that thing to get it to go back and forth. It'll just be a quick step, but if it's twice as fast or even a quarter faster, you know, we're all about production. And if I can use that to speed this up, that's what we're going to do. So I've got this thing heated up, got it plugged in. I actually ran it back and forth a couple times. So what I'm going to do, start it up. We're going to be super scientific. Now, it should move quite a bit faster than the other direction. I mean, we're already pushing 15 seconds. This thing should be cycled already. Because it's pumping the same amount of gallons per minute in a much smaller volume because this is taken out. But the problem is, this thing's leaking like crazy from this front seal. 40 seconds. 51:14. Now I'm going to write this down so I don't forget it. We're going to call this the China pump. 51:14 out. Reset. 15 seconds. I don't even think it got halfway. 44. 53:50. What? It took longer to go in. Hold on. I wonder if this thing was stuck in low gear. $50.35. I'm just thinking how fast that transformer press runs with that pump. And it's about the same diameter, 3-inch. Slow. 53.82. Okay. So that was actually kind of shocking results, because we're pretty much, you know, within 30 milliseconds on that return. But we did gain a whole, well, not even a whole minute. Basically, it was the same both times. I don't know if this thing is even changing gears or that's the speed. Now, I do know one thing. I've taken these lines off, and inside, it's such a small diameter. I actually thought about drilling it out. I don't know if that'll actually help, but I'm not against drilling it out. I mean, I don't know why they had such a restriction in there. I'm thinking it was these hoses that were like that. Oh, and another thing, the guy in the comments, yes, I was calling this burlap. It's not burlap. I just, you know, I didn't know what to call it at the time. This is kind of the same material as like a fire hose. This is the stuff. This is literally made for hydraulic hoses. I have a whole roll of this somewhere. I put this on here. This is to protect from, and I need to actually get that tape back on there. just remove it and put new ones, because that ain't protecting nothing really if that bursts. But all these 10,000 psi lines, eventually we need to get completely covered with that stuff to protect them, because you know the scrap is sharp, and you know I'm pushing stuff always to the limits around here. And as much as you know I do on the limits of safety stuff, I don't want anyone getting hurt, myself, but mainly anybody. You know, I would feel really bad anyone working for me. I have it on film. It was in a time lapse, but I do have it. I think it's in one of my videos. The first time I ever let Oliver run that press, the 10,000 psi line blew. He blew a hose. First time I've ever had one of them lines blow. And I think it was one of the original lines that like came with that. I mean, it was an old line. I shouldn't have been using it, and I definitely shouldn't have been having anyone run the machine with it, you know. Thank God he didn't get hurt. But I think I had this stuff on there, so when it blew, it wasn't even a big deal. It just made like a mist and the machine stopped working. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and pull these lines. I'm gonna let them drain, you know, because this got some milky, somehow that got contaminated. I did have this in the bed of my truck for a couple days with the jaw. I was doing a job where I didn't know if I was going to need that or not on site. So that needs to be actually just, I want to take that whole thing apart and clean it and actually see if it's possible to take those valves off and put them on that machine. That would be awesome, because then I could just run this back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the line real quick, swap it. I'm going to crack this one open. I'll just take that fitting off and let that be wide open, and then I'm going to hook that pump to that side, push that plunger's all the way back, so there should be relatively no oil in there, or very little. I'll actually crack that line before I start and drain whatever is actually in there. And I'll actually do the same thing. I'll just drain this as much as possible, but I am going to push the ram and let it push out any of that oil. And yeah, we'll see if this is faster than, I mean, 50 seconds. That is killing my production. Now, I will say, in my opinion, on 90% of these, it's better than trying to push it out with a hammer or whatever, or even a you know, like a chip and hammer or an air hammer. Some of it might be, some of the smaller ones might be easier, but when I get into them big boys that I be doing, there's just no way. You're not knocking them out with a hammer and a chisel and an air hammer. I've done some of them where me and Steve, I was pulling hard on this end. And I think that's how I blew that seal, because I was pumping the 10,000 psi. These are only 25, maybe 3,000 psi cylinders. They're not made for 10,000 psi. You know, I'm really doing above and beyond that thing, what that thing is supposed to do, which is why it blew a seal. It might actually be, it might be bypassing internally too. That could be a reason why it's slow. It still doesn't make sense to me why, if it's pumping the same amount of fluid per minute, it should have pushed that ram back twice as fast. I'm actually shocked that it took longer to push that ram back. That's just weird. And I wonder if one side of this pump is actually pumping faster. Because if that side's pumping faster, I should have that line over here. I don't know why that would do that. I don't know. Maybe one is actually designed for more flow, and that's actually an interesting experiment I should do. Dag, you know what? The only problem with that is, let me see if I can just swap the line. Because this is welded here, so I can't swap that. Well, I guess I could. I guess I could just take the elbow off. I'm just going to swap them lines. Maybe I've been doing this backwards the whole time. It doesn't make sense to me why the pump would do that. But if one of these had a faster flow, I'm not sure why that would be. But To fill the volume of this cylinder, 3 inches all the way down, should take longer to fill the volume of this cylinder pushing back, because it's most of the space is taken up by the rod, you know. It should go faster but have less power, you know, it's less pounds per square inch pushing on that what do you call it, the plunger, or the rod end, or I don't know what that thing is actually called. I got to get my, just like I got to get my cow terminology up to snuff, I got to get my hydraulic terminology up to snuff. But this just left me with more questions than answers. So I'm going to go ahead and see about swapping this line with that line right here. Or actually, I could just do it right there. I mean, that would make more sense, but I'm just going to try it out here. We're just going to try it. Okay, I was able to swap the fittings on the line. I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, but we're going to find out. Now, this is the way it actually should be, because when I would run this foot pedal, this was always return and this was push. So it was kind of backwards. So now we'll see if putting it the right way does anything. Whoops. It'd help if I started the timer. $49, $29. $52.65. Now that is only 1 second faster. Really not worth swapping the hoses. That, in my opinion, made no difference. Still, and I wonder if there's no way that the little bit of leakage, I mean, it is leaking, so that is slowing it down slightly, but I can't see that the little bit of drips that come out is making that much of a difference. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Well, we got our numbers. We ran it 3 times. We're within a second every single time. You know, 51, 14, 50, 35, 49, 29. It's pretty much within a second. Or second and a half. It really didn't make a difference. 53.50, 53.82, and 52.65. That could have just been the hydraulics getting warmer and thinner, and you know, I'm moving it, it's getting fast. I do notice when I'm pulling, like after about 10 minutes, when them hydraulics get really hot, it starts cooking along. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and swap over this pump real quick, and we're gonna run the same test. Okay, so I got this pump hooked up. Unfortunately, if I do use this pump, it's gonna take up a lot of space, because it's gotta be, actually I need to move it down this way more, and it's gonna kind of be in the way. If this is quite a bit faster, and this is something that I'd like to do anyway, is we're gonna try and see if I can't get that other block to mount on here. Will it mount on there? I don't know. I don't know what it looks like down in there. I have no idea. I'll probably have to pull this whole plate on. I don't know if I'm ready to do that, because I don't have hydraulic fluid, and if I get into this, I'm going to want to replace the hydraulic fluid. So I'm going to go buy 5 gallons of hydraulic fluid, and then I will explore that, or I'll just look online and see if I can just buy the proper thing for that. That way this pump can do that, and I can just keep that pump for the jaw, you know. So anyway, without further ado, let's all right, I could tell already that's moving faster. So I'm gonna actually let it cycle, because I had these lines open, and you know, bleed out any air. Wow. I think it's going to be quite a bit faster. Now, I am noticing quite a bit more hydraulic fluid leaking. One, we're leaking out there at the hose. That might just be because I didn't tighten that up enough. Two, that seal, this thing was flipped over this way. I just flipped it back that way, and I think flipping it, it actually, maybe because the weight is not, the weight is down this way now, it seems like it's leaking a lot more. So I don't know, we have to replace the seal anyway, so we're just going to move along with our test. Ready? You know what, I want to use this. 17 seconds. Wow. Wow. That is quite a bit faster. And it's leaking like a sieve. It'd probably be even faster if it wasn't leaking. This is the American pump, USA 17.6. I mean, that's almost, that's like 3.5 times faster, almost 4 times faster. That means our production will be 4 times as fast me pulling them things. Now, this isn't even a high flow pump. This is just high PSI. If I had the right pump, like this thing could probably come out in, 10 seconds or less. Like we'd really be, getting there. Okay. Let's see what we got. So, 22.96, almost 23 seconds. Obviously that is way faster. We are leaking up here though. That is way faster. That's about 3 times as fast almost. Or no, that's a little more than half as fast. Now, what gets me is, why is it pumping so slow, pushing it back? I don't understand that. Is it because it's less surface area, it's harder for the pump to push the piston back? I mean, that shouldn't even matter. I'm gonna just see something. Okay, so I'm thinking the loss of the I'm thinking the loss is from, it's got to be from the leak. 22 seconds. That's a 5-second difference. And it's such a, I almost want to swap them lines now. But it didn't really make a difference when I did it last time. I wonder if it's that restriction in the lines. There is a small, maybe I should drill that hole out. But I don't know what the diameter on the inside of that hose looks like. The hose could just be small. I don't know. The bottom line is I'm running the wrong hydraulics. I got a spool valve coming. I need to pull out that other motor I have and see what it's going to take for me to get that running. I think I do have a 5-horse motor I can run on it. Or I don't know the horsepower. It's 3-phase though. I don't know if my phase converter is big enough for that. I do have a 10-horse phase converter, but I don't have none of the capacitor. I have to build a capacitor bank. So I have to look into that. It might be cheaper just to buy a phase converter. I don't know, but phase converters are expensive. Probably not. If I knew what type of capacitors I needed, it's a shame. I used to run through so many of them, pulling them out of the lights. I just don't know if they were the right ones. I do have that huge box for that 100 horsepower or 50 horsepower or whatever it was. I wonder if that box could be used for the 10-horse one. I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to find all that stuff and look into it. We need some 3-phase, because I got a 3-phase pump. Kind of, you know what? I'm gonna set this puller up real quick. I kind of want to see it pull something. We're leaking like crazy. I don't know where I can go get seals for this. I don't think I can get any seals until Monday. What I might have to do is we'll run as much of this stuff as we can possibly do. I only have a couple things here. I mean, we can deal with the leak. I'll run it like this, and then I'm going to take this apart and bring it to my buddy in Palm Beach. I'll be up in Palm Beach on probably Monday. With that being said, let's try to pull some copper and see what happens. Okay, here we go. I got it set up. I got our new pump. Okay, man, I love the fact that this is right here. Now, I don't know how this is going to work, because now we cleared up that spot with the pump. I'm not reaching over, but now I am going to be reaching over to this thing. But I think we're going to be benefiting from this. Now we're at the limit. I actually think I should be the next step down. I'll be able to get all these big squares and probably this one. I don't know if I'll be able to get these small ones, but we're going to run it, see how far we can go. I'm going to put some earplugs in. This thing is loud. This is going to be interesting. Hey, man. Holy cow. That was awesome. Okay. All right, let's get ourselves in a little production run. Let me, I don't know where. Problem is, I don't have my dump trailer over there, and out of respect for my wife, I don't want to shoot my house. And for those of you, I know someone asked before if there was a house on this property. Yes, there is. Y'all seen the back of it in one of my live streams. All right, let's try that. Okay, now I gotta work these two foot pedals. Okay. Oh yeah. Come on, baby. One pull. Big nuggets.
The crown.
Okay, now the only thing is, there's a lot going on with all these valves. I got to get myself in a good groove, and realizing that my valve is here. Oh yeah, this is awesome. Still got to figure this out. We'll get there. Definitely a little bit of a learning curve. So the speed in which this is moving definitely makes up for the little bit of time I have to do this. These are easy. These actually would have came out easy with a probably a chipping hammer. Dang. That one's a little tough. It got it out no problem. All right, we have just leaks. We're leaking here. I think we're leaking out of this fitting. I didn't put no Teflon tape on that. I gotta kind of reevaluate all this stuff, but going forward, I'm gonna use this pump. It just doesn't make sense to use that pump. It's so much slower. Now, what I would like to do is put the quick release fittings. I'm gonna have to, I ordered some, I'm gonna order some more, right onto the pump, like the way this one came with it. I actually like being able to pull the hydraulic lines off. If for whatever reason I need to swap a pump, rather than removing the lines, we can just undo the pump and swap it out. And what I'm going to do here, I'm not sure yet, but we need to see if I can't get a thing for that, because that right there was freaking awesome. That was way fast, twice as fast as I've ever done that. And it seemed like the other ones, like this one was tough because it just started delaminating, but it was just ripping the copper out fast. And it only kicked in the low gear once with that one. So let me know what you guys think. I got hydraulic fever. My whole mission now is to upgrade the hydraulics, get my other pump running, and get this thing moving even faster than it is now. Because we're not using the full 10,000 PSI. When this one would pull hard, it was barely tapping 2,000 PSI. So a proper 3,500 PSI system with a flash, or 25 to 3,000 PSI system with a fast flow, pump, we should be ripping this stuff out fast. And I need a toggle foot pedal. So the spool valve is not going to work for that, but it will work for the guillotine shear. And I'll show you what I got in store for that coming up. So come as far. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. We have more copper mayhem, plenty more copper to pull. Got transformers to split and pull, and a bunch of scrap to go through. I'll tell you where we're going, right to the scrap yard. Dancing. You ever seen your copper dance before?